Right, overtraining. We'll give this a go. What's up, guys? So, episode 3 of Driving Me Crazy, and I think these are going down okay. They're getting some views, and that's better than none. So I got asked a question after I posted the last video to cover overtraining and whether or not you can exercise too much. I responded in short, but obviously it kind of needs a bit more detail. Now, before I go into this, I should say there are different types of training, and so the information I'm going to give you, and I will give you in a very simple foundation sort of way, is applying to your average gym goer, your bodybuilding sort of training, your weight loss sort of training, not like your marathon runners or, I don't know, something more specific. I can't think of something right now. Maybe long distance swimmers, stuff like that. Anyway, so the concept of overtraining, just to simplify what it is, the idea that training too much is bad for you in some way. And obviously this does have some sort of grounding. Now, a lot of old school knowledge or brilliant bros will tell you, go in the gym, 45 minutes, in, out, get it done, go home, anabolic window, have a protein shake. That is utter shit. The fear of going catabolic outside of 45 minutes verges on laughable. Basically, when you're in the gym and you've just eaten an hour before, and the fact that food takes 8 hours on average to... The fact that food can take... Oh, come on. Let's try there instead. The fact that food can take 8 hours to digest kind of makes you think that going catabolic inside of 45 minutes is laughable. Now, there will be things like glycogen depletion, so the carbs you're having and storing in the muscles will become depleted, and so you won't have optimal output. Optimal being kind of an important word, because there will still obviously be output. This angle sucks. Okay, yeah, so how long you should train for? Well, it kind of depends what you're doing, and this is where the information needs to be varied person to person. I, for instance, train for anywhere from an hour and a half to 3 hours, because what I do takes a long time. It doesn't... Yeah, how long you should train for? Now, to a degree, you should ignore the 45-minute thing. The concept of getting in and out applies somewhat. You can train for a good amount of time. I train for anywhere from an hour and a half to up most 3 hours. That's just because what I do takes a long time. You will not go catabolic and die and burn away all your gains inside of that time period. But the more important bit of all this is actually not overtraining. If you're afraid of overtraining, you probably don't train enough. You can train 6 days a week. Oh, come on. You can train 6 days a week. You can train an hour and a half, 2 hours each day. What the important bit isn't so much whether or not you're training too much, because frankly, if you're worrying about it, you probably don't train that hard. I train for 3 hours. I don't train insanely hard past the first hour and a bit. But what is important is the under recovery and under eating, and this will entirely put to shame the fear of overtraining. If you think you're overtraining because you're going on runs or because you're going to the gym regularly, you're getting weaker a lot, you're feeling quite tired. The things you're not doing is recovering enough, so enough sleep or enough time between intense sessions. Note that I say intense, you can still have sessions, they just won't be at the same intensity. You need some sort of break for your CNS system, central nervous system. But without enough sleep, you can't repair. Without enough recovery time, you cannot repair from the damage you're doing. This is why I specify that this isn't for marathon runners. It's a very different sort of training, but taking hypertrophy, for example, you need recovery time to start to repair the muscles so that you can get bigger and perform hypertrophy. The other bit, and the more important bit, which I kind of covered in my last run, is under eating. This is the reason most people think they're overtraining, or because you start going backwards, you get weak, or you feel really tired, lethargic, and just ill. That's not because you're overtraining, depending, God, some of you might be insane, but it's more because you're not eating enough calories to function for the amount of work you are doing. If I train on a single day, I make sure my calories are substantially higher. If I train in a very intense session, they are higher still. For instance, if I deadlift and squat in one day, I will take in 3,500 calories. If I squat in one day, I will take 3,100. If I bench, I'll take in 3,000, maybe a tiny bit less. And then on a rest day, it's 2,500. This is entirely dependent on the person. That's another story entirely. But the important bit is you need to make sure that you are not taking in a drastic deficit, effectively. If you need an amount of calories, and say you're trying to lose weight, that's fine. Maybe you should be under those calories that your body needs, the maintenance calories, by about 300. Possibly a little bit more, depending on the person, how they lose weight. However, if you are now below that because you've been training, burning more calories, and your deficit has increased to above 500 calories, expect to feel weak, expect to feel tired. That's what overtraining, what is more importantly, is the side of it. There is a caravan on the road. The more important part is that's really going to affect you is not eating enough to recover or provide energy for the amount of work you're doing. Input to output sort of ratio. Do not be afraid of overtraining. Do not be addicted that you have to train 7 days a week for 4 hours. Unless that's sport, that's a very different thing. But the average gym goer, no, you shouldn't be in the gym more than 6 days a week. You probably shouldn't be in there more than 4 or 5, depending on what your goals are. For the average person, you can get away with a lot. You can, if you want to lose weight, most of it's through nutrition. 3 days a week in the gym, you're going to look great. For your average guy for hypertrophy, 4 or 5 days a week, done smart with good nutrition, good recovery, good training, you're going to look big. For your average powerlifter, the 5-3-1, which is 4 days a week, or some of your programming, which is only 3 days a week. Overtraining is only a risk if you're a complete idiot. For these people that I'm talking about, if you will not stop training and you will not recover and you will not eat enough, it is simple math and it is all pretty straightforward. I guess that's kind of it, actually. That's probably a decent place to leave it. I should probably make notes before I start these because I just get lost in what I'm saying. If there's anything you want me to cover specifically, do say. I can answer questions better when I'm writing. However, I use these to keep me awake, so you can expect them to be a little bit messed about. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.